بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Last time we touched upon regarding the rising of the sun from the west as one of the major signs of the Day of Judgment. We also touched upon regarding the smoke, the dukhan, and the 3 earthquakes, and then we also mentioned regarding the beast. So that was something which will come out from the earth, and then we'll talk to the people, and I mentioned a few hadith regarding this. I wanted to move on towards the last one which is on our list, and then go on towards regarding the trumpet and so forth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about regarding is ashrat. So meaning the sa'a means the time, the hour, and ashrat means its signs. So amongst from the signs is regarding the great fire. So what is this great fire and how does this work? So Allah Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in this hadith, mentioned in Muslim, that it will start from Yemen. So if you know the geography of the Middle East, it will be such where you have, example, Makkah and Medina, let's say it's in the middle. On the southern side is Yemen, and the northern side is the Syrian and Sham area. So it will begin from the south, the Yemen side in Aden, and it will force people to flee from the south going towards the north, going towards Bilal al-Sham. So it will start from the south in Yemen and then go up, and everyone will be forced to leave their areas because it will be such a fire, and they'll be going towards the north to Bilal al-Sham. It's like one tip of Arabia to another tip of Arabia. And they'll be walking, or they'll be running, or they'll be on horse, or they'll be camel. This is how they'll be traveling from one end to another end. So this hadith mentions here that we were talking about Judgment Day one day. So one day all the Sahaba were sitting down, we're talking about Judgment Day. We're talking regarding the signs of the Day of Judgment, and we're having a little chat. So then one of the Sahabis, he's mentioned, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw this, and he came up to this the group of Sahaba and says, judgment won't happen and it won't come until you see these 10 signs. Until you see these 10 signs, then and then he mentions those 10 signs. So he says, one amongst them will be the fire, and the fire will come from Aden. Aden is in southern tip of Arabia, in Yemen, and then they'll gather all the people, and they will stop when they need to stop. Meaning, whenever the people stop and then just have a little rest, like example, the night time they'll have a rest, then the fire will also stop. And then once they go home, and then the fire will continue. That's how has been mentioned. And it goes when it needs to go. So it will stop when it needs to stop, and it go when it needs to go. This is what the hadith mentions. So it's almost like, according to the pace of the human being, that's as fast as the fire will travel. Musnad Imam Ahmad mentioned this hadith that he mentions here, Ardul Mahshar is in Sham, where the actual gathering of all the people, where it's the mahshar of the day of the gathering of the Day of Judgment, will also be in that area as well, in Sham. And there's 2 types of mahshar, 2 types of hashar, and one is in this dunya and one is in the akhirah. Obviously we know that which one is in the akhirah, when everyone is gathered on the plains of resurrection, but the one in this dunya is like the last of mankind being gathered. The last of mankind being gathered. Obviously this brings about a question. Where is the rest of the world if everything is happening in the Middle East? What's happened to the rest of the world if this fire is coming and it's in the Middle East, and then the final gathering will be in Bilad al-Sham, in the area of Syria and so forth? Where's the rest of the world? So this is a valid question. What happens to the rest of the world? What happens to the East? What happens to the West? What happens to the North? What happens to Africa, Americas? What happens to these people? Where are they? What will happen to them? There's not much has been mentioned, but because there's so much explanation and detail given around the Middle East area, then it seems like everyone else might be extinct. I mean, everyone might have died. Everyone might have, it's completely gone off the face of this earth. Whether that could be a reason of all the wars that had happened, or whether it could be because of Armageddon, the apocalypse, or whether it could have been, everyone's died and there's no inhabitants living there, and everyone's just moved towards the Middle East, and then it could happen like this, or there's just no explanation. There's no real detailed explanation given regarding what's going to happen to them. But all of the details of the signs of the Day of Judgment all happen in the Middle East. what will happen in those areas. So what happens with the rest of the world, we don't exactly know, but this is a certain explanation that could be given, that everyone else is completely nuclear war, khalas, finished, everyone's gone, only Middle East is left. Once all of the 10 signs are finished, what happens next? So once the 10 signs are finished, then you will find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions regarding the sur and the trumpet. So once the trumpet is now blown, so Allah mentions inside of the Quran, وَيَوْمَ يُنْفَخُ فِي السُّورِ or وَنُفِخَ فِي السُّورِ. So now the blowing of the trumpet, so it will be very sudden and it will be faster than a twinkling of an eye. You don't even realize it. People will be going around and doing their normal daily business and daily chores, and then Qiyamah will happen straight away. Muslim Imam Ahmad mentioned this hadith that once the trumpet will be So Muslim Imam Ahmad mentioned that once the trumpet will be blown, everyone will turn to the direction of the sound. So basically, imagine you hear a sound from that area of the masjid. So what will happen? Everyone will turn around towards that side. Why? Because that's where the sound is coming from. So the first person who will hear the trumpet will be a man who is busy repairing his tank that supplies water to his camels. And as soon as he hears the sound, he turns around and he falls dead. This is how the trumpet and how the sur, the description is given. And there'll be a person walking from Yemen to Sham while he's traveling because of the fire and so forth. While he's traveling, it will take weeks, so other things will happen during that time. Meaning it will go back to almost normality. People will be traveling because of the fire and so forth. They'll still be doing their normal daily works, like filling up water, like going to this, like milking their cow, like this and so forth. So this hadith mentions here, the hour will not occur except that man has put a cloth in front of him and he's trying to sell this cloth. And it won't be fully sold. Why? Because Qiyamah will suddenly hit, and that's it, everything will be destroyed. And the hadith continues by saying, the hour will not come, and it will not occur until a man has milked his she-camel, and he takes it away. He will take it away, but he will not be able to drink it. So he's got the camel, he's got the thing, so he's going back, normal daily chores will happen. And the hour will not arrive until a man is preparing his tank of water for his animals, but he won't be able to go and give the water towards the animals until Qiyamah will come. And the hour will come until a man raises a portion of food towards his mouth, a luqma of food towards his mouth, but he won't be able to eat it, he won't be able to chew on it. This is when Qiyamah will strike. This is when Qiyamah will happen. So almost automatically, instantly, immediately, a person won't even realize it, and then khalas, it will happen. And the Qiyamah will be in that manner. Baghtatan is the word. It will be almost immediately out of the blue. So as far as the fire is raging, people will still do normal daily chores. So the fire is coming, people are running away from the fire, but they're still doing their normal chores because it's not going at such a pace that people can still live almost their lives at a slow, steady pace. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, all will die. Every single person will die. وَإِذَا يَوْمَ يُنْفَخُ فِي السُّورِ فَفَزِعَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ إِلَّا مَنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned inside of the Quran that once the sur will be blown, once the trumpet will be blown, فَفَزِعَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ, everything will be destroyed, what is in the heavens and what is in the earth. إِلَّا مَنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ, except for whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills. So there will be some who will be exception to the rule. Who are these who are exception to the rule? And this hadith is mentioned in Bukhari. It's a very fascinating hadith regarding those who are exception to the rule of the trumpet being blown. Who are these people and who is this, or who are these certain amount of people or the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So when the Qiyamah, you mentioned this hadith, that when the Qiyamah and the trumpet is blown, I will find Musa alayhi salam in front of me. I find Musa alayhi salam in front of me, holding on to the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being, so after this surah is blown, this is second blowing. So some have mentioned how much blows of the trumpet. We'll come up to that. So in front of me, he's seeing Musa alayhi salam. He's been resurrected. He's supposed to be the first. But what does he see? He sees Musa alayhi salam first. So he's holding on to the arsh of Allah. Because I don't know, did he wake up before me? Or is he one of those people that Allah mentions in the Quran, إِلَّا مَنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ? Is he those people that wasn't destroyed from the first blowing of the trumpet? Or did he wake up and he was resurrected before me? So it could be either one of the two. He mentions this. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned this. And his first fainting counted for this one. So what does that mean? His first fainting, yani Musa alayhi salam's first fainting counted for this one. When did he faint first time? When he went to go and see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then obviously the mountain was destroyed and he fainted. So he says that was his first fainting, and that was enough for him. Maybe that was the time where his fainting happened, and then now it's this. So this was being mentioned inside of Bukhari. It's mentioned this hadith inside. He mentioned this. So is there people illa man sha Allah? Probably. Is Musa alayhi salam one of them? Maybe, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned it. Maybe he's the person of this. Maybe. So this is also a possibility as well. But there's also other creation that other hadith have mentioned, and it's possible that it's true that there's some of the angels are there, some of the different creations of Allah that we don't know about could be most likely the angels. Allahu a'lam, Allah knows best. And obviously we know that the person or the creation that's going to blow the trumpet will be the angel. What's the angel's name? Israfil. So where is Israfil mentioned inside of the Quran? You know? Israfil inside of the Quran. He's not mentioned inside of the Quran. So Israfil is not mentioned inside of the Quran. So that's good. So Israfil is not mentioned inside of the Quran. But obviously there's many ahadith regarding Israfil alayhi salam, Mikael alayhi salam, Jibreel alayhi salam, Israel alayhi salam. So these are the main four angels, and these angels are such where he has a certain duty. This Israfil, he has a certain duty, and he will blow the trumpet. And he mentions here that many hadith regarding what he's doing. So he mentions here that when he went to go and Mi'raj and so forth, he saw Israfil alayhi salam. He mentioned here that he was putting the trumpet close towards his mouth, next to his lips, meaning he's getting ready. Now is the time he's getting ready and waiting for the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So while his lips are on the actual trumpet and he's waiting for the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's waiting for the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he's also mentioned another hadith that he hasn't even blinked. Why? Because in case he misses the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to tell him to go and blow in the trumpet. So he hasn't even blinked in such a long while. So this is Israfil alayhi salam. And he mentions, and I've mentioned before in the past that there'll be two. The main first trumpet will be the destroying of everything, and then the second one will be the resurrection, and that will be regarding on the day of judgment. So these are the signs that we've mentioned. We've mentioned 10 major signs of the day of judgment, and there is ikhtilaf in regarding these 10 major signs, whether it's those 10 or whether it's other ones as well. Some have mentioned other ones which is added on. I've also mentioned them already as well. So these are the 10 major signs. I've also mentioned regarding the minor signs of the day of judgment, and I've only mentioned some of the minor signs. Hopefully if we have extra days, I'll try and cover some of the miscellaneous kind of minor signs which we haven't covered. I covered the major ones already, the major minor signs, or the main minor signs, coming up and leading up towards the major signs. Now when is this first major sign? Obviously it seems like every so often that we feel like it's going to be very close, and it's very close. And obviously as generations go past, we find it's going to be even closer that the first major sign will come. And the first major sign and the last of the minor signs will be the coming of the Mahdi. And we talked about the Mahdi in detail. And we talked about regarding his coming, and who are the people that are going to be the followers of the Mahdi, and where people will take bay'ah towards the Mahdi. How close is the Mahdi now? It's as years go past, as Ramadans goes past, as more and more incidents of the world start to fall into place, you feel like the Mahdi is almost imminent. And once that starts to happen, then you find the Dajjal almost also imminent at that time, and then the wars will start. So whether, as we've seen in the past few months, where everything is now going very fast-tracked towards the ending of times. Very fast. And this is why lots of different interpretations of the Quran. That's why different ahadith are now starting to more pop up. And now the different interpretations of this and different ahadith are coming. And now things are now making more sense. If you were to listen to these hadith 1,000 years ago, you would think that half of them don't even make sense. How can this happen? How can that happen? There will be a hadith on, example, there's some details of hadith on the Dajjal, and the Dajjal mentioned that the Dajjal will have such his reach will reach like to the clouds, and such his reach will reach almost all the way to the clouds, from one to the clouds, and also to the depths of the ocean. So how does this work? How does a person reconcile that the Dajjal, his reach will be all the way to the skies and to the depths of the ocean? So someone mentioned the system of Dajjal is such where now you will find a time will come where people will be starting to go and flying through the air, aeroplanes. You find that the submarines will go into the depths of the ocean. You find that in the hadith, a different hadith mentioned regarding a person will speak from one side of the earth to the other side of the earth. 1,000 years ago, you're thinking, how can a person go and speak from one side of the earth to the other side? Now we have phones. Now we have technology. Now we have all these different things. So everything is starting to fall into place. And lots of things are starting to fall into place. And that's why it's a very dangerous time for us. And a person must be equipped with facts, with knowledge, with the ilm of the hadith, of the timings, the errors that are going to come. So then a person is prepared for that time. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that this time is going to come. It's going to be a time of a fitna and fasad. It's going to be a very tough test. It's not going to be an easy test. It's going to be a very tough test. Many things are happening nowadays around the earth, but people don't know about these things are happening. Now it's becoming more easier because of the world of technology. But lots of things are still, people are now oblivious of what's happening here, what's happening there. Meaning we are so distracted that we have tunnel vision, that we're only thinking about ourselves, me, myself and I. That it's about individualistic kind of targets. Everything is myself. And the care for the other people is now going out. So Rasulullah ﷺ told us regarding this time will come, that now we need to start to care about our brothers more. We need to find out information more. And those times and the conditions and the signs that are going to come, be wary of these things. And when a person is more wary of these things, then he can try and act accordingly. And regarding Surah Al-Kahf and how important that is, because Rasulullah ﷺ taught us regarding Surah Al-Kahf is something which is a opportunity for us to try and protect us from the fitna of Dajjal, because his system is around. We've seen the system that we have now is the system of Dajjal, and now he's preparing himself, he's getting everything ready to distract us, so then he can come easily and slip through, and then he'll have his followers very ready at that time. So we know that he's going to come. So how do we deal with this? So have something, at least reading the tilawat of the Quran, especially Surah Al-Kahf, memorizing the first 10 ayats and the last 10 ayats of Surah Al-Kahf will protect us from the fitna of Dajjal. Start there. This is a starting place for us. Start at the place where now we try to memorize the first 10 ayats and the last 10 ayats of Surah Al-Kahf, and then read it every single Friday, and then hopefully this will has a good effect on the Dajjalic system and the protection from that system. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the ability to act upon what has been said, protect us from the fitna of Dajjal, protect us from all the different fitnas that are going to come. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us in this month of Ramadan, accept our worship and our du'as and all of the actions and the worship that we have done. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it such a fruitful Ramadan, a beneficial Ramadan for not only ourselves but for the whole ummah. And we want to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reunite the whole ummah and protect those people, our brothers and sisters, especially in Palestine, and protect them and grant them victory as well. Subhanallah wa hamdi, subhanallah wa hamdi, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Inshallah, if everyone can make their way towards the tent, inshallah, we'll break the fast there.